Hey guys, this is Anthony Morganti from anthonymorganti.com, and this is episode 174 of Photo Critiques. And in this episode, I'm pleased to critique the work of Charles Wilson. This first shot, selective color, as you can see, Charles has these huts here in this path, all in black and white, and then behind it is all in color. And the technique is very well done. Everything's in focus real nice. The composition itself is a little cramped, and I see that it was probably cropped down to this size, but it's just, I think, too tight. We're cutting off like part of the stairways here. It's just a little too close. I think if we backed up a little more and worked this scene and got some different angles. I'm not sure what the camera settings were on this because it's not giving me any of that data, so I don't know what kind of lens he used. But if you work the scene a little more and got some different angles and different focal lengths, which might affect the way the background is closer, further away, I think it would enhance the shot. It's a nice shot. I like this a lot. I talk about when you're framing, and this is what this is. We're framing here. You gotta have something kind of interesting in the frame because you're telling people, look through here, you know. And in this case, Charles definitely did that. Very interesting shot. The light isn't the best. It's kind of, you know, we got this kind of harsh shadow over in here. This is bright, but Charles did a nice job of controlling the shadow. But you know, it did. You know, it's a nice shot overall. I like this shot too. Very well done. You know, street photography. Did a nice job of getting the entire storefront in the shot and a guy walking through the frame. Now, typically, I would say, you know, you'd want him back here more, so he's walking into the bigger part of the frame. But I think it's balanced this way. We have the door, or you know, over to the right, the man over to the left. He's perfectly right between the two posters of you know, haircut styles. So it's a really nice shot. I think Charles did a nice job on this. It's a nice shot. I mean, old car and going down the street. You know, it's a fine shot. The light is harsh. You know, we always got to worry about light as photographers, and the light is very high up in the sky. You know, not very soft. And it came out okay on this subject. If this, you know, we were looking at people here, it wouldn't look nowhere near as good. So you always got to beware of the light. This is an interesting shot, very close up, interesting sky, nice exposure. It's a nice processing, you know, very well done. This shot here, sorry it's so small. I didn't have time to enlarge a lot of these shots. The focus, though, I could tell just without it even enlarged, is just not there. It's just a little too blurry. So a shot like this, particularly on macros, and you really need the focus as tight as possible. And again, I don't know what the camera settings were. And since you're shooting pretty flat onto the flower and the bee, you didn't need, you know, f/22 or anything like that, but you probably could have, you know, got down to f/5.6 and had enough depth of field to get both this part of the flower and the bee in tight focus, enough depth of field to keep those in focus. So again, you got to be real careful of the focus when you're shooting stuff like this. Yeah, kind of an interesting scene. It's a little crowded too, kind of like that scene with the huts, the fishing huts, the very first shot. This one here is a little too crowded. Now I know, probably filling the scene, trying to eliminate some busy stuff out here, but it's just a little too tight. We're, you know, cutting off part of this table, and this is right to the edge. Although you did get it all in up here, we're cut off down here. Again, I mentioned, you know, it looks like it was a crop. It's not the original dimensions, so I think you cropped it down like this. I give it a little more room. You know, just a, you know, nice sunset, kind of a panoramic view of the sunset silhouette here, and the silhouette's relatively interesting. They have this kind of castle-looking object here. Again, it's so small I didn't have time to enlarge anything for the video, but it's a nice shot. You know, still not super compelling subject in the shot. We have a nice backdrop. If we had something else in the shot to something for our eyes to focus on, I think it would help the shot a lot. It's a nice shot. I like this one a lot. I blacked out the license plate. I did do that. Again, it's selective color. As you can see, the Chryslers in color. The rest of the scene is in black and white. And I think this is probably one of your best shots. I really like this one. Again, we're a little tight up here, and it does look like you cropped it again. I would really encourage you to try to get these shots in camera so you don't have to crop in post. So try to compose the shots in camera the way you want them to be, later, so you're not always cropping your shots. And if you do have to crop, try not to crop them so close. We do want to give the viewer a little space, a little cushion, so when they're looking at the subject. This is a nice shot. It's a perfect exposure. Again, now this is cropped really small again. You probably could have gave it some more space. We're losing stuff over here. I guess work the scene, see what else you could get. You got this kind of very rusty looking metal in here, and maybe you could get some close-ups of the gears and things over here. That's it, I think, for Charles. Yep, that's it. Charles, thank you very much for sharing your work with us. I very much appreciate it. And I'd like to thank everyone that watches all my videos. Thank you very much. Go over to my website, anthonymorganti.com. I have all kinds of photography stuff over there. And I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's it for now. I'll talk to you guys soon.